Okay, today we're going to recap Oklahoma getting thumped 48-41 by Kansas State, unranked Kansas State. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college related, sports related. Today, gotta talk about my team taking a big fat L in Manhattan, Kansas today. A number of things that went wrong, a number of things that I want to do over. But look, Oklahoma started this game leading 10-0 and then promptly got outscored 41-13. Got beat by a quarterback that still ain't never thrown for no 250 yards. Yes, the grammar ain't going to be on point in this here video. There might be some righteous yelling as well. And lots of tea. I recommend the decaf, especially after this kind of a game. Because first thing is, I'm thinking all the time, which game is this for Oklahoma? Because, yeah, they were down 24-23 at half, and hey, they pulled a rabbit out of a hat to get 3 points at halftime because, well, 23 seconds left. Nobody's expecting Oklahoma to score. You get Gabe Burkich within range. He kicks a 50-yarder, and you're thinking, cool, they'll regroup at halftime. Even as Oklahoma was the first team to give up a 100-yard rusher, Power 5 team, to give up a 100-yard rusher to Kansas State this season. James Gilbert got everything that he wanted. Even as you kept giving Kansas State short field after short field after short field, which is like handing somebody a hammer to brain you with. It just didn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden it looked like Mike Stoops was on the headset and we're all going, hey, Lincoln, tell Mike to get off the headset, give it back to Alex, because what even is this? It's not even that the defense was particularly just that abysmal. It's that Courtney Messingham and Chris Kleiman knew exactly what Oklahoma was doing defensively. They're running a lot of man, and every time they slanted, they told Skylar Thompson to go the other way, and he would just call a run play going against the slant. And it was almost as if Alex Grinch was out there tipping his pitches, and Skylar Thompson knew what was coming, so he just barreled it up. That's what you do. I mean, they played sound football. And then Wyatt Hubert to start the game, just abusing Eric Swinson, just coming off the edge and destroying Jalen Hurts. Boy put the ball on the ground again. Matter of fact, probably put the ball on the ground twice, and they gave him one back. But even after all of that, you're thinking, yeah, of course, Oklahoma can come back from this. It will be fine, man. It'll all be just great. It wasn't great. Because the stat sheet said it at halftime, Oklahoma was averaging 9.8 yards per play. Sure as heck didn't feel like it. Sure as heck felt like Oklahoma was getting mollywop, skull dragged, and beat down. And you know what? That came true in the third quarter. Because for me, the one that flipped this isn't Nick Baskin trying to drive a ball into Charleston Rambo's hand on a wide receiver throwback that bounced off of Charleston Rambo and into the fortunate hands of Kansas State player. They turned into six from the 14-yard line of OU. No, that's not it. Okay? It's not it. It's not even Trajan Bridges just happened to bounce off of the ball, bounced off of him at the 9.5-yard line, which is 1 yard or half a yard shy of how far the ball needed to travel before an Oklahoma player can touch the football on an onside kick, which happened late. Because at first, I tweeted, oh my God, because I'm thinking, wow, Oklahoma got the ball back with 1:45 left to go down 7. You got to know that they're going to go get 7. Nope. Refs review it. They got the simultaneous angle, and they found that Trajan Bridges had touched the ball, which meant that it was Kansas State ball, no recovery after it just kind of broke the way that you thought it was going to break for Oklahoma. And there was a time in which Kansas State felt like they were just toying with Oklahoma or taunting or flat stupidity because they punted on a 4th and short that I swore they could have gone for and got and then just put this game away. So they're up 48-23. You're thinking, cool, fine. I at least want to get my head beat in. Don't give me any hope, right? Because I saw Curtis Bolton tweet, hey, y'all really think we're going to lose this game? To which, I'm not going to retweet at him because that's a little bit disrespectful, but I am going to say Oklahoma scored to go down 48-30 with 12 minutes left to go. But seeing as Kansas State had scored on its last 7 straight possessions, and seeing as Oklahoma was down 3 touchdowns, and seeing as the Oklahoma defense couldn't stop a running nose. Asking for optimism here is just not what you do. I like a John Wick film as much as the next person. But asking people to be willfully stupid and call it fandom is ignorant, all right? It's not out of touch with reality. Because we all feel, what we feel about this game and this team, but I'm not an idiot. And I'm going to call it like I see it. Oklahoma got outplayed. Skylar Thompson outdueled Jalen Hurts, even as Jalen Hurts went 19 of 26 for 395 through the air, at 96 yards on the ground with 2 tutties on 19 carries. He played a good game. Skylar Thompson, on third and long situations, found ways to get the ball to wide receivers, which is not a thing that I would have thought he would have been able to do in this game. Because, one, Oklahoma secondary had been that good, right? And to wit, they only gave up 213 yards passing, but they gave them up in critical situations. On first and second down, Kansas State got everything they wanted. Didn't matter what happened on third down. They got the fourth down conversion that they wanted. And we can continue to roll through it, man. We can talk about Parnell Motley performing his Mortal Kombat move on the sideline after Kansas State has scored to go, 14, right? And then you get the dude ejected. I'm going, by the time we see Parnell Motley again, he might need to legally change his name to Stadium Steps Stupid, because that's what that was. Why are you kicking at that dude? OU fans ain't going to defend that. They're not going to stand for that. They want to see you take a walk too. But even as he's taking a walk, and before that, Jaden Davis was getting his lunch eaten and picked this day to play like a true freshman. Like at one point, we're watching him watch Knowles just run free, and we're going, yo, man, you going to make a play? Where's the dude that literally punched the Kansas wide receiver in the face? Where was the fight from this squad, in the secondary particularly? Brian Asamoah didn't look like he knew if he was coming or going. Deshaun White was filling the wrong gaps, which is so unlike Deshaun White. He's the best instinctual linebacker that Oklahoma has. Kenneth Murray Jr. was all but not heard from because they schemed away from him, which is what you do, right? He's your will. You run everything to your strong. If they slant to the will side, you still run it over to your strong. And they were able to do that because that offensive line at Kansas State flat bullied Oklahoma's defensive line. There's no getting around it. It was not a good look for any of them. And I continue to wow you with stats here, but you saw this game. And you'll know that it ain't a 7-point game. All right? I thought this game could have gone 4 ways. First way was when you're down 24-23 at half. Okay, cool. This can be your North Carolina game for Clemson earlier this year. They got scared. They needed to stop 2-point conversion to stay undefeated against Mac Brown's North Carolina team that ain't as talented as them, but they got a W, right? By a point, but they got a W and they're undefeated. So I'm going, okay, that could be it. By the end of third quarter, that was off the table. We're in Illinois territory right now, okay? That's where we're at. We're in Wisconsin, Illinois territory. And we're thinking, all right, cool. Maybe we'll just get embarrassed, and that'll be that. And cool, we're going to make jokes, and we're going to drink more tea. Speaking of which, it's a tea day. It's a heavy decaf tea day. We're thinking, yeah, cool. We'll just take it. I mean, this is a trap game on the schedule. I had said before the season that this is the game that scared the hell out of me, even more than Iowa State did, because Chris Klieman was coaching them. People like Kansas State ain't that talented. It doesn't matter. Scotty Hazelton called a hell of a game. The way that Alex Grinch looked against Texas, the way Scotty Hazelton looked against the number 1 offense in all of football. All of football. Oklahoma averaged 613 yards game, 50.4 points per game, 339 through the air, 273 on the ground. Did not matter. Oklahoma averaged 6.9 yards per rush coming in this game. By halftime, they were at 3.8. Scotty Hazelton had his boys ready to go. Lincoln and Grinch did not. I mean, we had Creed Humphrey botching snaps. He was snapping it too high. One of them actually ended up on the floor. Jalen Hurts knew what to do with it. The quarterback sneak late in the game. He tried to botch that snap too. Thought the offensive line was gelling up after the Texas game. Maybe this is the one-off, but I point to this statistic that I've been pointing to for 15 years now. It's been 15 years, 2004, since Oklahoma last went undefeated through the month of October. That means had not lost the game and got to November 1st, undefeated. Still ain't happened. Because after running the gauntlet, or such as it is, of Texas, right? Get by them, get by Kansas, you get by West Virginia, it's like, cool, let's put this one away and let's coast to the Big 12 championship. Nope, nada. Okay? Now, you still control your own destiny, right? Because it turns out Kansas State did you a service and lost to Oklahoma State early in the year and lost to Baylor early in the year. But now we got Baylor, who in a bye week gets to take over the top spot in the Big 12 standings because Oklahoma decided to catch an L this year. It just ain't a good look here, folks. It's not a good look. So now that we knew that it wasn't going to be an Illinois game, I'm going, all right, cool. How bad are we going to get beat down? Is it going to be 30? Because I thought that this was Oklahoma's Purdue game, and I still do. And I'm referring to 2018 Ohio State, okay? Ohio State got beat down by 28 by Purdue on the road. In a year in which they expected to contend for a college football playoff spot, they go with the one loss. They matched up with Oklahoma with the one loss, who got beat by a good Texas team by 3, high scoring affair. And rightfully, they just get kicked to the Rose Bowl and say, hey, look, there's no seat at the table for you at the college football playoff. The year before that, I thought Oklahoma was headed toward that, right, where Ohio State got beat down. Iowa put 55 up on them. I thought that's where we were headed in this game. Didn't get there, so this is Oklahoma's Purdue game, which is another way of saying I don't want to hear nobody stumping for this team to make no playoff. I just don't, okay? Call it reason. What reasonably? Why would you want this team in the college football playoff after the way that they just lost to Kansas State? A Kansas State team that ain't played nobody until they played Oklahoma. Okay? They beat up on Nichols. They beat up on Bowling Green. They lost to Baylor. They lost to Oklahoma State. Same Oklahoma State that lost to Texas, who Oklahoma beat, and got embarrassed by Baylor, right? Who Oklahoma still should beat in November. We'll see what they do against Iowa State today as they're playing right about now. And of course, there's lots to play for, but right now, you brought a pretty quality top 4. And we thought, hey, why is Oklahoma not in that top 4? Well, now you know, okay? Because right now, through the uploading of this video, Ohio State, clearing away, best team in the country. I'm not sure why they're not the number 1 team in the country, especially after what they just did to Wisconsin, all right? That's the best team in the country. They are monsters over there, particularly defensively. Then you got Alabama, then you got Clemson, and you can keep going from there. In my personal AP ballot, my fake AP ballot, I might end up putting Oklahoma at a negative number after this game. I'm making a joke, but you want the point here. Because Appalachian State beat up on South Alabama. I still think I would rank Appalachian State higher than I would rank Oklahoma because they're undefeated, and that is what you do in this sport. We don't have a system in which you can lose, man. It's just not that. I'm not going to look at your resume and say, cool, you played a particularly above average Kansas State team. And Appalachian State beat up on North Carolina. Same North Carolina played Clemson to the 1-point loss. Might beat up on South Carolina later up in November. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say the schedule's the schedule, and I'm going to say that I want a playoff. Because, check this out, if y'all would adopt my 16-team playoff, this loss to Kansas State would not hurt Oklahoma, and I wouldn't have to talk that badly about them. Wouldn't have to talk that badly about Wisconsin either for their loss to Illinois. Wouldn't even have to talk that badly about Ohio State losing to Purdue by 28 last year. Because those teams would be in a 16-team playoff. But y'all don't want that. Y'all don't want that. Y'all want to sit here and argue about it. Because Oklahoma traveled to Manhattan and got beat down in Bill Snyder Family Stadium, where they had nerve to play Sheck West right after the Kansas State crowd discovered that the referees had overturned the onside kick and awarded the ball to them. So now I got to deal with a bunch of farmers clapping on the 1 and the 3 to Sheck West. Balling like his dude Mo. I don't know what else you want to tell. Like, we can continue to go through it. And we will continue to go through it. And we'll get down to the nitty-gritty of the autopsy of this game. But you know what it was? It was piss poor play. It was TJ Pledger fumbling a kick return. It's Charleston Rambo not holding onto the ball. And Nick Basquin decided to rifle in there because he don't play quarterback. So he just decided, you know what? I'm going to throw across my body, which I called a mistake. And everybody else is like, nah, hit him in the hands, not a mistake. Fine, whatever. Ball ends up in Kansas State hands. So what do you want? You want to be right? Fine, you're right. Outcome's the same. And then you're going to be like, hey, man, if they didn't have replay, we'd have had the ball. Well, so what? Why are you in a position where you need an onside kick with 1:45 left to play in the first place? You're Oklahoma. You're supposed to beat this team by 21. Did anybody forget that's what the point spread was coming in this game? 21 points Oklahoma was favored by. That's more than 3 touchdowns. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. And y'all really going to try to defend this? Nah, you can't defend this. Not going to get no Big 12 team in the college football playoff this year. Okay? Now we're looking at 2 SEC teams once again because they're going to value LSU or Alabama losing to each other more than they value Oklahoma getting beat by Kansas State on the road. That's just what it is. And until the system changes, that's what it's going to be. So this college football playoff, which is already watered down, which is already a farce, is going to keep out your team because they lost by, 7 on the scoreboard to a decent Kansas State team. Kansas State team I picked to go 7-5 this year. Now they got the first real pelt of the Chris Kleiman era. With Bill Snyder in attendance holding up binoculars so he can watch the game close. Don't ever change, Bill. I saw you with the blazer on. I want to know where the Cotton Bowl windbreaker is, where the Cortezes are. I'm sure that there's a long read on both of those things. I don't care that much about Kansas State to go look it up, so don't send it to me. All right? I don't really care. I just wanted to make the joke. Scotty Hazelton, a tip of the cap to you, sir. Courtney Messingham, a tip of the cap to you, sir. Chris Kleiman, you showing what everybody, knew when you was at North Dakota State. You're a good football coach, and you're going to get better. You're going to get better players, and you're going to compete in this conference like you are. Oklahoma, it's not necessarily back to the drawing board, but you got 2 weeks to think about this now because you go into a bye week. My goodness. And now, what? You can't lose again. Going to be out of Big 12 championship. So you got to do that thing that you've been doing, which is going undefeated through the month of November. And now Lincoln Riley is 31-5 with 2 losses to unranked teams and 2-3 when losing at halftime, being down at halftime. Look, there'll be better days, but next year you're going to be breaking in a new quarterback, going to be breaking in a new will linebacker, and you're going to lose Neville Gallimore up front. Maybe next year is the year. We'll have to wait and see. But this year, I don't expect Oklahoma to compete for a national championship. And I did not expect Skylar Thompson to outduel Jalen Hurts when it mattered. But that's why I love the sport, because these things can happen. Today, they just happen to my team. So now I'm going to go back talking about my team, talk about everybody else's team, because we do the college football here. All right. Yeah, that's it for me. Deuces.